nice selfie. Say 3 C's. Woo! I've waited 3 years to say it. If anyone here remember me? Can I get a whoop whoop? Awesome. Another tradition is I get to open with a joke that one of my daughters told me to say on stage. But this year we also have ChatGPT. So I also asked ChatGPT to write me a joke for the beginning of a cybersecurity session in a conference. So I'll start with the ChatGPT one and then tell you my daughter's joke. So the ChatGPT joke was, why did a computer went to the doctor? Because it had a virus. So I told ChatGPT that it's not so funny. So he said, wait, I have another one. Why did the computer catch a cold? Because it left all the windows open. And my daughter, Leah, God bless her, her joke was, it's kind of deep. What weighs nothing and can sink a ship? The answer is a hole. If you want to know more about holes, you can ask Fortinet. Ouch! Okay, so let's begin. So even before the pandemic, we were all dependent on the internet at an unprecedented scale. Now more than ever, our world is digital. We saw like a whole supply chains and workforces moving to work remotely. We saw like the digital and acceleration to move to the cloud, and our world is digital more than ever. In the meantime, we have smarter devices that are proliferating at a pace never seen before. You will see tomorrow the rate of like number of devices per person in North America. Pre-COVID, it was 8, and post-COVID, it went to 13, which is amazing. But every day in the news, we see a continuous wave of Gen 5 attacks at companies who thought their security was good enough. Unfortunately, it wasn't. To make it more interesting, the World Economic Forum predicts a global cyber pandemic that will spread faster and further than a biological virus with an equal or greater economic impact. So it's kind of interesting what happens. With the huge growth of attacks and breaches we have seen in the last few years, such as Log4j, Okta, Spring4Shell, Uber, OpenSSL, we see a pattern. Companies and organizations with multi-million-dollar budget that they thought their security was good enough. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and they lost their cyber battle. On top of that, in 2022, it's a reel of financial realism and quiet resignation, where it became more challenging to build and train security teams and to defend organizations from threats. It's apparent that good enough or second best, though might fitting for cell phones, smartphones, cars, etc., it could spell trouble as this mindset creeps into the cybersecurity industry. Now more than ever in this new world, more digitized than ever before, I believe the single greatest threat to organization is the good enough or second best mindset, that standard that's being sold by key players in the cybersecurity industry. Which brings us to this. When it comes to cybersecurity, second best will get you breached. We believe at Check Point that our customers deserve the best security. The challenge is that every vendor will tell you that they have the best security. So as William E. Deming said, in God we trust, all others must bring data. And this will be the focus of my talk today. What makes a security solution the best? What does best stand for according to our customers? And to provide you with hard, publicly verifiable data, how Check Point's singular purpose is exactly that, to provide its customer the best security they deserve. So what does best security mean? Gil mentioned it briefly before. It has three core pillars. The first one is comprehensive. Comprehensive stands for real-time prevention across all attack vectors, and from code to cloud and anything in between like networks, users, email, and IoT. The second pillar is called consolidated. Consolidated means unified management, unified security operation for your entire security stack, but last and certainly not least, easy to operate. And the last one, which might be the most important one, is being a security that is collaborative. Collaborative means having the best engines easily applied to any attack vectors, real-time shared threat intelligence, and API-based integrated into third parties. So let's drill down a bit and focus on the comprehensive part. Blocking threats in real time is a philosophy at Check Point. Every innovation we develop, you can see some of them popping out on the screen, starts with a fundamental mindset. Can it prevent threats in real time? Let's focus on two primary examples, malware DNA and zero phishing. In malware DNA, what we discovered that similar to software developers, hackers love to reuse code to save time, freeing them to improve their malware techniques and evasion, etc. Malware DNA by Check Point is a patented technology that ensures the classification of malware to families. While the solutions available in the market are signature-based, our AI technology allows an instant classification based on thousands of indicators, taking into account even the slightest changes. By quickly tracing even used zero-day threats, response times are accelerated even further, dramatically reducing the risks to organization. Malware DNA is a great example of Check Point's relentless focus on developing and providing the most advanced threat prevention technologies. Next example is the constant fight against phishing. One of the most effective social engineering attack techniques. Give you a few more seconds with it. OK. And this is where Check Point's zero phishing unique solution comes into play, new and improved in Titan release. It uses over 300 advanced engines, heuristic, and AI to detect phishing websites like visual similarity, in this case, to Office 365, URL reputation, like the fact that the domain was registered 3 days ago, and with a verdict issued in seconds and shared through Threat Cloud with all of Check Point customers. Here is a quote from one of our customers, Clarks, the same company that invented the world's first foot-shaped shoe. They have more than 1,400 stores worldwide. They say, with Check Point, we gained industry-leading protection. Check Point stops malicious DNS requests automatically and blocks phishing in real time. Our innovations save customers every day. However, not all vendors provide real-time prevention. One example is this vendor, also known as Palo Alto Networks. It has an advanced threats detection solution called Wildfire. Now let's see what their admin guide says about. After the malware is identified, the malware log is sent to the firewall, and the firewall alerts the administrator, who then contacts the user to eradicate the malware. Now let's see how the log looks like. And I'm telling you, this is not Photoshop. The action is allow, and the verdict is malicious. Do you know what it means, boys and girls? It means that patient 0 is infected. That's what it means. It basically means that Palo Alto lets unknown malware traverse the gateway while inspecting it. It takes them like 1 or 2 minutes. They're accelerating every version. They're using all kinds of inline machine learning and deep learning and all kinds of hype words. But in the end, they let the malware in. Again, we're talking about unknown malware, not something that like you can static analysis can use. And now let's see what they recommend doing, Palo Alto now. At this point, the security administrator identifies the user by name, and the administrator can shut down the network. This is from their documentation. I'm not making it up. This is their way to achieve real-time prevention. When you shut down the network, everything is prevented. So, but laughs aside, this reality exists even in their latest PanOS 11, also known as Nova, as well as other vendors. I'm not just speaking on them, like the tries to provide zero-day solution, like Fortinet, Cisco, Zscaler, and more. And it kind of reminds me of this TV ad.
David, you have one of the worst cavities I have ever seen. Okay, have a good day.
Aren't you gonna fix it?
Well, I'm not a dentist, I'm a dental monitor. I just tell you when you have a bad cavity.
It's bad. Lunch?
Oh, yes.
Where are you going?
Why monitor a problem if you don't fix?
Kind of added an Easter egg there. Hope you don't mind. So Checkpoint with Infinity architecture is that definition of comprehensive. It starts with network, security for network, security for network with Quantum, security for cloud with CloudGuard, whether you're securing workloads or containers and application, intelligence, etc. Harmony for the secure remote workforce with user security, email security, endpoint security, mobile security, all with shared threat intelligence and unified management and operation through something that we call Horizon. Let's deep dive. So we covered the comprehensive. Let's deep dive on the consolidated part. And the definition of consolidated is unified security. And this is the slide, I would say, the image that says it all. The pure definition of consolidation with unified management console, where you can manage the entire security stack from the same console. You can manage unified management and security operation, MDR, XDR, XPR, events. You can manage your firewalls, your IoT, your SD-WAN, with CloudGuard, the posture, network, workload, identity, and with Harmony, the Connect, the SSE, endpoint, mobile, etc. Now let's see how the other vendors compare that has similar offering, shall I say. So to manage the same, more or less the same thing, even less, I would say, Cisco needs 9 different UIs. They need one for the firepower called FTD. They need one for ASA, the firewall. They need, you have Cisco Umbrella. You have their email, also known as IronPort, previously known as IronPort, now it's called SEG, SecureX, CSM, AMP for endpoint, Meraki, and Viptela for SD-WAN. Palo Alto, you need 5 UIs. You need the Panorama, which is for the network security, Prisma Access, which is for the SASE, Prisma Cloud, Cortex, which is their endpoint and XDR, and CloudGenix for their SD-WAN solution. Fortinet, 9 UIs. 40 managers, 40 analyzers, 40 SASE, 40 EDR, 40 sandbox, 40 web, 40 mail, 40 CNP, and 40 CASB. And they have more, by the way, but we didn't want to be harsh on them. They also manage switches, etc. Microsoft, they're quite good. Only 3 UIs, Intune, M365 security, and Azure Portal. Zscaler, you have the ZIA for internet security, ZPA for application security, workload, and something they call ZDX, which is for the digital experience. And CrowdStrike, with like much narrower offering, they have their Falcon, Insight, CWP, and Assets. This is like, and I see many people like are popping pictures. I can tell you one thing. In my last slide, I have a QR code that has a link to all of the slides. So if you want, I can pose for you, but all good. So it's not only the number of consoles, but also how easy it is to manage security within each console. And when you compare operational efficiency of Checkpoint versus competitors, we performed a test, we called it agony meter, basically measuring how long it takes, how many menus, how many mouse clicks it takes to do day-to-day security tasks in network security and cloud security. You can, by the way, access the tool in tiny.cc/agony meter. You can see like full audit trail videos, etc., of doing those tasks and elaboration. And then in a nutshell, for the same tasks, Palo Alto and Cisco admins went through 5x more menus to operate network and cloud. Beside the fact that more menus mean it's more cumbersome to manage, it also means that it's prone to human error that can lead to reduced security. Core part of easy to operate is to have smart security. Smart starts with our most efficient management platform, R81, that with its best security, with the industry-first autonomous threat prevention that provides AI-driven security that you can implement best practices in single click. Gateways are immediately configured, and policies are continuously and automatically updated. Again, second to none. It's no wonder that a client said to Gartner that we cut the time we spend on managing security by 80% thanks to the simplicity of the checkpoint solution. And a large bank said the best GUI dashboard in the firewall market. So it's not a new in Titan release, not only smart in securing networks and cloud, but also IoT. Checkpoint is the only vendor to provide autonomous zero-trust threat prevention in IoT. We leverage AI and machine learning techniques to fully understand the patterns and automatically create rules to allow for proper communication for the device. With over 200 autonomous profiles by device type, category, and vendor providing laser-focused automatic protection for IoT devices. So we touched on comprehensive and we touched on consolidated. Now let's move to the collaborative part. So the core part of collaborative is Threat Cloud. You can think of Threat Cloud as a brain. And like the human brain, it consists of two parts that work together. The right side is intelligence, immense threat intelligence that is always up to date. And the left side is intellect, AI technology that combines the immense intelligence with advanced capabilities to identify and block never-seen-before threats. These two parts create together what we call accurate prevention that is fast and well accurate and feeds it to the entire checkpoint portfolio, so no matter which checkpoint product you use, you harness this power. To understand the scale we are operating at, our Threat Cloud gets 2 billion overall queries decisions a day. And if you factor in cached responses in the gateway, it reaches 1.5 trillion. No one comes close to this. It has over 40 collaborative AI engines that provides the most accurate prevention. Gil mentioned before 42, so 42 to be exact, out of 75 threat prevention engines. And for the AI to be smart and effective, it needs data to be trained on. This is the secret of AI. And this is one of the core strengths of Threat Cloud, as it leverages data from millions of gateways, mobile, and endpoints used by our over 100,000 customers. So just to get a sense of it, 2 billion websites counted daily. Websites and files are inspected, 73 million full content emails, 30 million file emulation, 20 million potential IoT devices, 2 million malicious indicators, 1.5 million newly installed mobile apps, and 1 million online web forms. Again, huge data lake with huge intellect. I want to highlight the importance of shared threat intelligence. This is the real power of collaborative, is the ability to share intelligence and by that exponentially amplify the protection from other attack vectors. Let's have a quick behind-the-scenes look at Threat Cloud, which powers the shared threat intelligence. Here you can see an executable file coming to a customer network, I believe from Italy. It first goes through the quantum gateway, which sends it to Checkpoint Threat Cloud. Threat Cloud then employs 70+ engines to give their verdicts, which finally go through the machine learning decision engine that aggregates all the verdicts to make one accurate verdict and decide whether this executable file is safe or malicious. This verdict is then propagated worldwide to all of Checkpoint enforcement points like mobile, endpoint, gateway, cloud, so that such attack, if this executable is malicious, it is then updated and it can be prevented across the world in less than 2 seconds, which is significantly fast. By the way, this reality can never be possible when you use point solution, also known as best of breeds. They simply cannot integrate so harmoniously like in the case of Checkpoint consolidated architecture. So think about it. You can have like CrowdStrike for the endpoint and Wiz for cloud and Zscaler and Checkpoint for firewall. So even if they're all the best in their area or whatever, they cannot share threat intelligence. And if they can do it in less than 2 seconds. So this is the real power of having a collaborative and consolidated and comprehensive solution. One of the more exciting elements of collaborative is Checkpoint AppSec solution, CloudGuard AppSec. Our unique AI that is based on 2 models, offline supervised and online unsupervised, sets it apart from other WAFs, web application firewalls, enabling it to offer first-class security with minimal configuration or maintenance. But most importantly, once and again, it proves to be preemptive. That means blocking zero-day attacks with default product settings and no software updates required. This was proven several times in the last year for the well-known Log4Shell, Spring4Shell, and Text4Shell zero-day attacks, as well as being the only vendor immune to the famous WAF bypass in late 2022 that a company called Clarity managed to bypass Palo Alto, Imperva, AWS WAF, F5, and Cloudflare. And this is what they wrote in their blog. One vendor's WAF that was immune to our attack was Checkpoint, CloudGuard AppSec, and OpenAppSec, which we verified already had mitigations in place to stop our attack techniques. No need for signatures, no need for everything. It was preemptively blocked the bypass and the attack. All of these smart capabilities that I just described you manifest to effective prevention and protection to our customers. When it comes to third-party validation, here you can see the latest Miercom Next Generation Firewall report that was released, I believe, last week, where it's clearly identified Checkpoint as the leading zero-day malware and phishing prevention with the lowest rate of false positives. You can see here we had 99.7 prevention rate, whereas Palo Alto, for example, they detected 43.6% of the attacks and prevented them, but 39% they managed to only detect. So if you're looking at prevention rate, this is like 99.7 versus 43 versus 72 by Fortinet and 46 by Cisco. And not only that, when you talk about phishing, which is like zero-day phishing and like something that is the most prominent attack vectors, Checkpoint was the only one to miss only 0.1%. That means 1 of every 1,000 phishing links, whereas Palo Alto Networks missed 10 of every 1,000, which is like 10 times more. So this is really, really meaningful. And you can read the full report at tiny.cc/Miercom23. We've had a similar case in email security. Based on our acquisition of Avanan, there was a test that basically showed that other vendors like Mimecast, Google, Proofpoint, Microsoft, Barracuda missed much more phishing links than the others. For example, Microsoft Office 365 security failed to detect phishing emails 93x more than Checkpoint, Harmony, email, and collaboration. So this is all great, but as John Lennon said, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. What happens when a security vendor, and it can be Checkpoint as well, suffers from vulnerabilities? It's part of life. It happens to everyone, and their customers are exposed. Here are a few examples, starting with an interesting quote by Gartner on Fortinet that just in 2022, they had 8 critical vulnerabilities. So this is the quote. Gartner clients have expressed concerns about the recent FortiOS-related vulnerabilities announced by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, also known as CISA. But it's not only Fortinet. It's other vendors like Palo Alto Networks, Cisco, SonicWall, Microsoft, and more. So this is where the DNA of the vendor is being tested in its sense of urgency to make sure their customers can patch their systems as fast as possible. And this is one of the, I would say, the best-selling slides. In the past 3 years, Check Point had one high severity, I believe it was OpenSSL, vulnerability, and it took 2 days to release a patch to its customers. And this is how it compares to the competitors. Competitors had an average of 90x more vulnerabilities and 22x slower response time. That's crazy. Palo Alto with 61 days on average to release a patch. Cisco with 50 days. Seriously? By the way, all of this information is publicly verifiable in vendor security advisories web pages where vulnerabilities, also known as CVEs, are being tracked. You can read the full aggregated data at tiny.cc/urgency. I can tell you we had some deals that were saved thanks to that specific slide where people even questioned it in the beginning, then they saw, they looked, they challenged Palo Alto and Fortinet, and they were like, that was the response, because you can't really counteract that. So this is why Check Point is the most trusted vendor in the industry with fastest response times to vulnerabilities. Sense of urgency is at the core of our DNA as a company. All of this translates to unmatched customer satisfaction with over 17,000 positive reviews that got Check Point a leadership position in 15 Magic Quadrants, also known as grids, by G2, the largest software customer review site, including for cloud security, cloud workload protection, data and compliance, next generation firewall, DLP, mobile security, email security, endpoint security, VPN, network security management, and IPS, an achievement second to none. And this is why the best companies choose Check Point. So what do we do with all this data, with all these amazing proof points that proves and shows how and why we are the best? It was Dennis Waitley that said, the primary success factor is knowing how to learn from others and rely on yourself. So I want to share with you anatomy of a win, what winners did that moved the needle, so we can learn and replicate and create a better and safer future for our customers and to our quotas as well. So what winners did, they demoed real-time prevention in action. Again, it's a very compelling thing. We have demo points that the SEs can prove it. They positioned Maestro Hyperscale, a huge competitive differentiator. They introduced Infinity and its value proposition, both TCO-wise and security effectiveness-wise. They worked closely with a partner, a great resource as a customer trusted advisor, and an amplifier of the Check Point brand. They used a reference, considered one of the top buying criteria in cyber. And they used competitive intelligence to prove why we have the best security. Let's go over some of the top tools that had helped us to win deals in the field to win deals. Starting with Why Check Point one-pager, a very popular leave-behind document with C-levels. You can download it at tiny.cc/YCP. Again, I see people popping pictures. I promise you, the last slide, I have a QR code that you can get all the slides. Okay, I promise. With full, good, very good quality. But it flatters me, again. Anatomy of a win on Checkmate's partner community and available on Check Point Engage with top assets for before, during, and after the meeting. By the way, that's TJ there, and I see that he's just pointing it out. Yeah, you can take a picture. I removed that slide in the QR, TJ. Mobile-friendly competitive assets on Checkmates, where you can see Check Point's top differentiator versus top competitors, their sales strategy, how our solution mapped versus theirs, what they say about us, and how to handle objections, and more. Infinity Competitive Assessment Calculator, a great sales tool for Infinity that highlights top Infinity differentiators, both in TCO and security effectiveness. This tool is available on Checkmate's partner community. Maestro assessment and sizing tool for best practices of capacity and sizing with a recommendation for positioning, including competitive comparison and cost performance. This tool is available as well in Checkmate's partner community. The agony meter, something that I mentioned before, it resonates really well with prospects, by the way. And also customer-facing competitive pages versus McAfee, PAN, Fortinet, Zscaler, Wiz, Trend Micro, Cisco, Proofpoint, Symantec, CrowdStrike, top next-generation firewall vendors, top cloud security vendors, top email security vendors. Many of those are number one on Google in terms of SEO. If you search now Check Point versus Palo Alto, you will probably see us number one. So these are the 3 C's of the cybersecurity. So to summarize, this is what the best security stands for. We need to push our customers to ask the hard questions. Can I afford having second best security? What is the risk I'm taking? Am I settling with second best or doing everything I can to secure my organization and customer? This is where Check Point comes in with its best security. This embodies so many things that Check Point stands for. And it reminds me of a story that I want to finish with. When a young bar mitzvah boy came to visit the Lubavitcher rabbi, he was surprised when the rabbi started asking him about his sport preference. The rabbi even asked him if he recently attended a game. How was the game, the rabbi asked. It was disappointing, the 13-year-old confessed. By the 6th inning, the Dodgers were losing 9-2, so we decided to leave. Did the player also leave the game when you left? Asked the rabbi. Rabbi, the players can't leave in the middle of the game. They have to stay and play until the end and try to win. So this is the lesson in life, the rabbi said. The rabbi told the bar mitzvah boy. You can either be a player or an observer that is watching and sitting from the sidelines. You should be a player. And this is exactly what we are fortunate enough to be, we are fortunate enough to be working with and a Check Point that is a player and not an observer from the sideline. It is part of the solution, constantly innovating and leading the industry with the best players, all of you, to beat the bad guys. We are in the business to securely enable the digitally transformed world now more than ever. Our customers and prospects deserve the best security. They need the best vendor to provide them that. They need Check Point. Thank you very much.